Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a magnificent guest with us today, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the legendary Brother Rashad Muhammad, who many of us know from traveling and being a disciple and a companion of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But he's so much more than just that. He's a good brother, a good uncle, father, husband, activist, believer, and a servant of Allah. We love you, Brother Rashad. And first of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Well, alaikum salam, brother Josh. Love you as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And everybody's excited. As soon as I let people know that I was interviewing you, they all started sending me the questions and things that we wanted to talk about. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Rashad, the first thing while we get started, I wanted to thank you publicly on behalf of myself and my family and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for taking time to travel to my graduation 2 weeks ago on December 14th. You were a surprise that meant so much to me and my family and everybody who was watching. People were calling and, man, Brother Rashad came to see you graduate. Um, I always make it clear that you were the first male. My mother was number one telling me to go to college, but outside of my mom, Sharifa Muhammad, it was Brother Rashad who was encouraging not only myself, but many of the young brothers to go to college, get a skill, get a trade, and do something for ourselves so we can do something for our nation. But I wanted to thank you and salute you, Brother Rashad. You have no idea how much it meant to me, how much it means to me to see you at my graduation. Um, and I just love you and thank you, Brother Rashad. I just want to thank you publicly.
Well, yes, sir, brother Josh. We are more than honored to be with you at your graduation with your family, to watch you walk across the stage and to receive just another token as relates to the rewards that you will receive in life as you journey. You know, another thing that validates your work, that takes it to another level where you're constantly growing and developing so that you can be a better servant. Know that we will always be there for you, for your family, and any of the believers as they move forward in life. But it is an honor to see you uh, make that move to graduate, to become one of those soldiers of Muhammad from a different generation. When we came in, most of the young people was dropping out of school. We thought the world would end and there was no need for school, you know. But as we have developed, 40 years later, we see that we're still working. And some may have wished that they have gone to school. But even though we didn't get certificates or diplomas, we have gotten a wealth of knowledge and degrees of knowledge that can be put into the field of endeavors that we can all benefit from. So we're just honored to be with you and your family during such a great time in your life, because like you say, you've been there for so many and given a voice to so many. So thank you for even
All, pra-
inviting us and be a part.
all praise to Allah. Thank you, Brother Rashad. Okay, I also wanted to ask you about a week ago, in one weekend, uh, Minister Don Muhammad, as well as Brother Kevin, but could you let us know how what it was like being around Minister Don Muhammad, sir?
Okay. Let me start. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is indeed his messenger and servant. I'd like to greet you and your family and the viewing audience with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam,
Um,
sir.
Once again, thank you. And also on behalf of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, I'd like to extend the greetings to the believing family and to all of your viewers as it relates to his wishes and his prayers for them and their family during such a time. So also I extend the greetings on behalf of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan.
Beautiful. We return the greeting, sir.
Well,
We return the greeting, sir.
I most certainly will. If I'm afforded the opportunity to, that will be done. But I would like to say, as relates to Minister Don, um, since I've been in the nation, Minister Don has always been like an anchor. He's always been a pioneer. I've always known Don to be that man that was the nation or the minister depended upon as one of those great men on the East Coast. There are two men that were like that I knew of. as a young man. Each one of them represented something different. One was Minister Kareem, who is known as Brother Lemoir, and the second one is Minister Don. And these two men I have known all of my Islamic life to be those who have anchored the East Coast. But Minister Don had a special place as relates to, and both of them did, because one was in New York and one was in Boston. And those were the places that the minister, as a young minister, developed and became, the minister in Boston as well as the minister in New York. So those were two places that was dear to his heart, as well as his work and the development. But as relates to Minister Don, I've always known him to be a very kind and sweet, loving Muslim, no nonsense, always sharp, business-minded, always had a sense of direction, one like a strong father, a strong brother, a strong leader. Minister Don was always kind. I've never seen Minister Don in the 40 years that I've known him out of character. I've never seen Brother Don raise his voice at a believer. I've never seen him disrespect a believer. I've never seen him in any light other than a true Muslim. And it's a beauty because I recognize Don came in at a young age. I think Minister Don may have been 18, 19 when he came into the nation. And it is a beautiful thing to see a man commit his life and give his word. And then you see that he works all the way through to the end of this world's life, serving and doing what he could for the cause of Black people. It's a great honor to have been in the presence of such a man, known throughout his community, loved by the community, always did things to help the people in the community, always was there to solve the problems of the community, whatever they may have been, whenever they arose. Mr. Don was just that, he was a companion and a true friend of the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, as I saw him, a true companion and a true friend. And he had been that. I've never known Minister Don to ever, since I've been in the nation, to fall out, to get disgruntled, to say I resign or to quit. I've never heard of such when it came to Minister Don. Minister Don has always been known as Minister Don, and he has always been a faithful and true Muslim that I'm aware of. And I would always hold Minister Don near and dear in my mind and in my heart as one of the pioneers who laid the foundation for me and those like me. And to see him sacrifice his life. And while we're on that, Minister Don is on one side of the spectrum and Brother Kevin is on the other side. Kevin was a young brother who we watched come in. I watched him by the age of 15. And Kevin was one of those that loved the nation. He loved the movement of the nation. When he got a chance to commit, Kevin stayed with his commitment. No matter what happened in the nation, no matter what happened in Kevin's life, Kevin always tried to find a way to serve. He always tried to find a way to be a part of the brotherhood, always wanted to be included in any activities where the Muslim was involved, whether it was social, whether it was work, whether it was business, whether it was a fight, whatever it may have been. That Kevin would be up for it as relates to the reality of taking care of business. So once again, that's a soldier on the other end of the spectrum. So you have the young and the old, but nonetheless, all are committed to death and this cause. So only thing takes us off the post and out of the work is when the ultimate time comes for us to leave this world's life and transition, as all do. So just to watch these men and to be a part of their lives and to see young Kevin develop from the outside all the way to the end, to see him just yearning as a young man to be a part of the reality of the security apparatus, and then to watch him to become a man and then operate in that area. And, Kevin, like I said, there was nothing you could ask of Kevin that he wouldn't do if he could do it, no matter what the time was, no matter where you were at. If Kevin could make a way to make it happen, Kevin would be there. So this is the type of commitment that is shown throughout the nation, from the young to the old. Those that have given their word, honor their word into death. And I say those are two honorable men that have served as best as they could in this nation, given all that they could, to do their part to see this nation and this people rise. And we thank Allah for their contribution. We thank Allah for loaning them to us for the time that we've had them. And we pray Allah blesses their families, strengthen their families, and that their families look up and see their parents or see their brother or see their father and remember the sacrifices and the service of what he gave his life to, and know that there's nowhere for you to go. So come on home, fall on in, do what is necessary, and let's get this work done, because bottom line, God is present. And God is present, everything is possible. Not anything, everything. So we give honor and praise and thanks for those men and their lives. And like I said, they'll be missed, but we'll soldier hard in their names. And we won't stop until we get.
Praise be to Allah, Rashad. Excellent. And thank you to everyone who was watching and showing love all around the world. Now, Brother Rashad, I wanted to ask you, speaking of Brother Kevin and the young brothers from Junior FOY time, from when I was reflecting with my brother recently, I don't even know if you remember this time period, but this is when I was at MUI and we were playing football on the property, and you always was like, brothers, line up. This is junior. I had to be like 13 years old, and seeing you whenever you weren't on the detail, have a love to see the discipline of us, and make sure that we were on our best behavior and being on our post, and then see us develop by the grace of Allah into like Brother Kevin and working on the E-Team, and some brothers working here, working there, and all different things. Why is it so important to get to us at a Junior FOY level, on a young level, like a super young level? Why is that so important for you?
Well, the importance of interacting with the young people is as important as the seed meeting the egg. And when the egg and the seed come together, that's when life begins. So what happens is there's preparation that takes place even before that happens. And the more we prepare, the better product we'll produce. One of the things that is absolutely necessary in the young men and women is discipline. So the Honorable Muhammad put more emphasis on discipline than he did on anything else. So you always had the military decorum or the military order to call the young men and women to order, because no matter what you did in life, if you didn't have discipline, then you wouldn't grow to the levels of the height that you could. So as relate to that, we always try to instill discipline. And as we mature, we're starting to see that we're gaining discipline in other areas. As a young man, when I came into the nation, we didn't get into music as much. We didn't talk about music as much. Definitely didn't talk about sports and things of that nature. But now you see a whole new expression in our nation, in our community, because the level of discipline has changed. And the children that are coming up now are coming up under parents that have been in the nation 15, 20, 30, 40 years now. So now what is being instilled into the children absolutely causes them to move at a faster rate, because now it's not just done at the school, it's done in the home. So now you have the young Muslims that are matriculating into every endeavor of life that you can think of. And when it comes to music and expression and art and even sports, we're becoming some of the best at it, and you ain't seen nothing yet. You see the names popping up in football, basketball. Now you see our young people in the orchestra. And yes, brother, I mean, when they perform that thing, it was such a beautiful thing, but it shows you that there's a new people that have come out of an old people. There's a new expression that's coming out of this old wineskin, these old followers that came out of the world that have devoted their lives to the Honorable Muhammad and the Honorable Min Farrakhan. Now you got 3 and 4 and 5 generations down, where now they're trying to live according to the way of God. And each time it's becoming much sweeter and sweeter. So you're looking at the children, and everything we ever wanted to be, now we see it in our children. So you got the doctors, the lawyers, the Indians, the police chiefs, or whatever you may want to have. You got the scientists, you got the musicians. And I mean, these are not just people that are picking up the instrument or getting involved. They are proficient in what they do and the level that they do it on and the approach that they bring to it. You know that there's a change taking place amongst us other people. And just last night, my children went to one of the most classiest parties that they have ever witnessed in their lives. And now they're in their mid-20s. we were just talking about it, and he was talking about how beautiful and elegant it was as they went to participate in the Nation of Islam waltz gathering, the party of the classic party where they listened to classic music and nobody could even break out and move a certain way. They had the gloves on and the gowns on and the tux, and the brothers was in what they were well formed, and they had their form as such that the sisters can fall on the form, and they waltzed on through the top to Salam, and they had such a wonderful time. And as they shared it with me, and I thought about it, I say, look at this beautiful nation and how it has grown. Now we have developing our culture where our children now are embracing that which is on a higher level, a higher vibration, and they can interact. And my daughter's like, well, it felt so funny having an escort and he want to escort you all around the place. I say, that's what happens when you're in a civilized environment. You have escorts so that your name is not tarnished. See, if you're at a party and the girl from face to face and she's all over the place, before you know it, everybody's talking about it in a bad way. But when you have an escort that's escorting you around the ball, that protects your name, that protects your integrity, then protects you. So now every old joke can't just pop up on you, because your escort is there. And say, well, man, it felt uncomfortable. They would even escort us to the bathroom. Well, they're there as a sign of what God does when God is present. God makes sure that you're secure no matter where you are, that you're protected, that you're in an environment that is peaceful, and that your peace will not be disturbed. So your escort may, when you first get it, you're annoyed. But after a while, you recognize that it's in your best interest because it keeps so much foolishness away from you. It keeps so much gossip and backbiting because now it's an honorable, clean thing, and the lights are set at a certain manner, and everybody walked. I looked at the brothers as they was dancing, and their heads was upright. I'm like, what the man? Just the posture. So it was a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So you see the evolution. So from where you all were to now where your children are, because now your sisters have children and they were all babies, So now it is just imagine what's going to come from them as we see what's coming from you all. So it's a beautiful thing. So discipline is always first and foremost in everything that you do. And that's why the Honorable Minister Farrakhan was able to take the discipline of his music and put it into the discipline of his ministry. And he had never missed a beat because before he became a minister, he was already studying 8, 9, 10 hours a day in his music. So it became easy for him to transition into the music to study the ministry, where he would now study the word of God 8, 9, 10 hours a whole day, disappear, go fast and go into a room and lock himself in there. Nobody have access. That became easy because he already had the discipline of a musician. And that's what happens when you take on certain endeavors or certain fields of higher learning or service. The more you commit, the more discipline you have, the greater your service will become.
Beautiful, Brother Rashad. Excellent. All praises due to Allah. And people are showing you love all around the world. Walaikum salam, Brother Musa. Thank you very much. Walaikum salam, Brother Benny. Brother Benny Makdi. Thank you for watching. Brother R. Sear. Yes, sir. And thank your daughter for watching too, Brother Benny, who watches at the table. Yes, sir. So, Brother Rashad, I wanted to ask you, speaking of the Salam restaurant. Okay, no, I got two questions. But this had to be 2004, October 2004, the rededication when Ja Rule and Irv Gotti and all was there, but we had like a prom event at the Salam. And my sisters, we got the pictures of that where the DJ was trying to play. We were all coming back around, and the DJ was playing savage music or worldly music, and you was like, no, cut it off. Cut it off. Like you were trying to keep us civilized back then at the dance that we were doing. It's October 2004. That's crazy. Yeah, but yes, sir. So to see us, how we were coming in and we were, figuring how to dance and how to be civilized to now, 2024, the full waltz ball and all that. So it's, full circle. So I'm glad to see that it's getting,
brother, when you take me back to that night, that night I could have beat up the adults that was involved in planning that party, you know, because absolutely didn't represent my understanding of what we were taught. And boy, if I could have beat some people up that night, I would have, because I didn't like the thought of what I saw and heard and the movement. And like I said, we've been there. So shit, you know how people, we know how the movement takes place, and we watch the movement. But it's a beautiful thing to watch us grow, you know, and to be able to have social gatherings. Because if we're not careful, everything that we've learned in the world, we'll bring it right into Islam, just like Negroes do with the dietary law. You know, you say, well, we ate collard greens and cornbread, so we'll have farina and spinach, or farina and whatever. You take the same old diet and you try to fix it and form it into God's way, rather than coming up with something more creative, something new, and something that is more healthy for you. So you're just replacing one thing, but you're preparing it the same way. So your carrot now tastes like sweet potatoes, you know, and you say, well, you don't eat cornbread, but you got farina dressing. So, you know, the same stuff. So we'll take that as it relates to party and all that, and we'll take what we know from that and try to clean that up. You can't clean it up, you know? So as God said, he will take nothing from this world. You have to come up with a new expression. So now we're coming up with that expression, and it's coming out of a classic. It's coming out of a higher standard. It's coming out of a more refined music. You know, you can't get up and shake your backside listening to classic music. I haven't seen it yet. I can't say what we can't do. We'll figure out a way you let us have it long enough. But the bottom line is, it brings out the best in our behavior and our relations. And that type of music doesn't give you the mind to sink down into some of the holes that most of the music today will lead you into. So it's been a wonderful process to see us evolve from what we were to where we're going now. And that's how you can really bear witness and know that God is present. And you can see that no matter what we think, what God has come to make of us, we will be. And you can see that taking place even as of right now. And there's some other things that I'll talk about later as relates to that. But know that we are evolving into the beautiful people that God said we would become.
All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Rashad. And thank your family as well, and everybody who's watching. I wanted to ask you, speaking of the Salam restaurant, I remember when their Salam restaurant wasn't open. Many of us do when it wasn't open. And I remember how excited my parents were, my grandma's, Arian Ball, just my family. We was it's the Salam, to see us have that in the Alvin's Corn and the piano and all of MUI, all of that good stuff, to have a place where we can call our own. How important was that for you to be in a nation before we had the restaurant, and then to have it now and to see it all these years later with us, building the Salam restaurant?
Well, it's a wonderful expression to be able to come when we had nothing, and to see us develop till we got everything that he said that we would have, and be able to partake in it. When we came into, like you said, we didn't have a salon, we didn't have a restaurant, we didn't have farmland, we didn't have the palace, we didn't have the mosque, we didn't have as many followers or believers in our community. We would go out sometime with a paper, and we would run into hostile people in the streets. So we had to deal with a lot of things as we came up that are not present today, that is much more easier for the believers as they move around. But to know that everything that he taught us, everything that he said, it came true based on his words. So when he told us that we would have a thing, there's nothing that he told us that we would have that we didn't get. And that's going to continue. Everything that he said that we would have, as long as we stay faithful to what he's taught, we will get. And that's what I see. And the thing is, I would say to our community is that, remember, it's not what you get or how you get a thing, it's how you maintain a thing. So some of the things that you get, you may put more value on the thing than the actual getting process. When we get these things, we get them based on the principle of love. We get them out of the principle of trying to please him and trying to help him with whatever he said that he wanted to do for the people. So it is based on our love and service toward a word. And I say that when we get these things, then we have to keep the same commitment to service and the word, expressing love. Don't start thinking because we have business that we have to operate like a business. So when the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that he wanted to have the Salam restaurant open, and he called it and built it as the palace for the people. And anybody that knows in business how hard and difficult business is, and I've worked on his behalf at the Salam to host the events for the believers during Savior's Day, and I recognize the difficult factors that came with it. But he never said that we have to be profitable, even though it is good to be profitable. He said that it was the power of the people. So as I look at it, that's just serve the people from it. If we never make a dime, use it to host our community. Allow those to have baby showers and weddings and, feed the people that are homeless, not like give them a plate. Sit them down and feed them like royalty. Feed them like, they're the people of God. So open that building up and do what he said with the building. That would be my plea. And we'll find that it'll support itself and we'll get more joy out of it because it's in service based on the principle of love. Don't always think that when we're in business, that it has to be money oriented, because in our unity, we'll never want for money or anything. But the bottom line is, as long as we can service with love, then we'll have the things that we want in this world life, and nobody will be without. Because no matter what we have, you can't take nothing with you. And as long as you're in the mind to share it, you'll always have joy, because joy is in giving, joy is in carrying, joy is in sharing. So the thing that I say is, let's open up our hearts as we open up our businesses, as we open up our purse, and don't worry or think about a loss, because you can't lose serving God's people, especially if you serve God. So the Salam was a labor of love. I knew nothing about working at a restaurant other than he told me he wanted it open for the believers. And anyone that saw me while we were there can say that we grew. They could say that we started off rough, but as I continued to serve, I got better at service, because it was not that I wanted to do business. I just wanted to extend the expression of love from him to them. So when he asked me to go in his name, I was there in lieu of him. So everything that I did with him in mind. So when I would serve the believers and they would raise the difficult questions and cuss me out, I learned how to take it, because I knew that's what he would have done. So I didn't lash back out. And sometimes people would know that it didn't take much for me to lash or get back at you in that manner. But in that capacity, I always try to serve the believers in his mind and his thoughts with his spirit, and give them the best of what I could with what I was given. And like I said, we grew, and we did what we could. But I say, even to this day, open the doors, man. Let the people in. Next time we want to feed them, don't go taking them dinners. Invite them in, sit them down, and serve them as if you have just ran into your long lost brother and your father want to drape him with the robe and put the golden ring on him, and honor your brother and your sister that are out there lost in the muck and mire. Make them know that God is real and God loves them, and there's no thing that we have that we'll put over the service of our people.
Beautiful, Brother Rashad. All praises due to Allah. And thank you, everyone who was watching all around the world. Brother Rashad, we're in tune. I was watching a clip, was into my family and my circle, from Truth Controversy. Everybody subscribe to that on YouTube. It's a brother who has all of the ministers hidden. His father left all these VHS from the ministers from the 80s, 90s. Just go on YouTube, type in Truth Controversy. Shout out to that brother, Brother Waleed from LA. You did a great job compiling all of our nation's history and compiling the nation's history. But somebody texted me a clip from there yesterday, 1990. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is speaking at Mas Mariam. A brother gets up out of the crowd, interrupts the minister while he's speaking. Then, of course, everybody's, ready to, stop him from interrupting the minister. The minister from the rostrum says, "Don't get him. I'm going to answer your question." He starts to answer the question. The brother goes back and forth. It's all on YouTube. It's very interesting, but it's coming to your point. And then the minister, eventually, he's saying, "We want to talk at the end," but he's spent like 50 minutes on engaging with one man in a room full of everybody. Could you give us examples an example of a time where you seen the minister show kindness, where, or supernatural kindness, where in our state, like you said at the Salam, you would have responded a certain kind of way, but the minister didn't even give the brother what I thought he was about to, what I'm saying, get. Could you give us an example of when you saw the minister show kindness to people that we most likely we wouldn't have done?
Well, the minister operates out of the mind and heart of God. And God is always showing mercy even to the fool. And sometimes the fool don't even recognize that it is the mercy of God that is sustaining him. The minister has done it not just in, you saw him do that publicly, but that's his way. He does that when it comes to business. People have robbed the nation, taken money, made promises. He gives them the money and they disappear with the money and don't come back. And you know how the brothers is. Most of the brothers come out of the streets, come out of prison, come from all different walks of life. And, we don't like to forgive somebody for taking a piece of bubble gum. But the bottom line is the minister would always say, would you take your brother's life or harm your brothers or the father of those children for $5, for $25,000, for $100,000? Will you deprive the children of their father because of something such as that? So that was always his way. The minister went to funerals to pay honor to people that disrespected him. And when he got there, he ended up paying for the funeral. The minister has paid, he has paid for people that would be considered his enemy. He's paid their mortgages, given them money and food to get through the day, and send their children off to school. So this is his way. It's not something, what you saw him do in public, that's how he is in private. That's how he is in guiding the brothers. That's how he is. Look, man, leave that man alone, pull back. This is the type of thing that he's always done. So you get a chance to witness it from the roster. And the way that we have my setup, that's your job to take him out of there when he get like that. So you got people sitting up there waiting to take him out. That ain't even a question. And like I say, the minister say, but he give you an opportunity, but if you get real foolish, and he was able to just deal with him from there out of respect. But if the minister would have mishandled that or handled it another way, I'd say, can't say mishandled it, but if he'd have handled it another way, even when that man got out of there, that man would have got a spanking for being naughty in class. You would have got a whooping. You acting up in class, man, your big brothers there, all your cousins there, and you're going to disrespect the patriot in the class. We whooping you when you get outside, man. You were foul. So the bottom line is the minister saved him from not only a public humiliation, but also a private whooping, because he would have been taken off in a corner somewhere and spanked for that type of behavior. That's just our way. You're not just going to get disrespectful and arrogant and nasty and disrupt the whole class because, you got to go to the bathroom and you just can't hold yourself. You're going to just crap all over the place. You can't hold it. No, man. So bottom line is that's his way. Not only for that, the same thing when they tried to put him against Malcolm's daughter and said she tried to assassinate him. No. See, he paying for her lawyer in her defense. He's raising money for her, and here it is. They done reported that she was trying to get him assassinated with some little scruffy white dude. So, but the bottom line is, look how he handled it. And that's how he's been. Same way with black leaders. The minister is the type of man that he outdistanced himself from the envy and jealousy and the ignorance of our people. And then he keeps just enough distance, but when they get tired, he come right back and lift them up and say, come on, let's keep going. So the bottom line is he's that type of man that will carry you across the river on his shoulder, get you to the other side, and he won't say, look what I've done. He'll say, look what God has done for us. See? And now we both are walking on the dry side of this thing. So there are many that he has saved like that. He even saved me and saved others from our own self and our own foolishness just by being patient and allowing us to develop and grow. He teaches us in such a way that if you hear what he says, you're going to change at some point. And that's the same thing in the audience. If you will be quiet and listen, you'll learn and you'll change your ways and find that this man is right. So that's his way. That is his way. That's not just something that happened. That's his way. And all that he does. Right.
Beautiful, Rashad. All praises to Allah. Thank you, everyone who was watching. I wanted to ask you about your patience Brother Rashad, in training of the men. Primarily, I'm going to speak for myself and the younger brothers who we had the honor of being trained by you. One time, I don't know if you remember, but one time the minister was meeting with the guy, the man, the actor from Amen, who was like a main character from Amen. He was on Any Given Sunday, but I know him from Amen. But we were in Washington D.C. and it was a fundraising event, and I wasn't on the detail, but I wanted to be on the detail, trying to put myself on around. Minister comes out. I'm like, oh, I'm going. This is my chance to. I waited outside. I'm going to walk with you all, trying to be like my dad, trying to be like you all. And somebody comes, me being super young, I like redirect him, but it was like my hand was about to touch him, but I didn't even touch him. And he was like, Joshua, get out, and don't touch, and do it. And I was just trying to get on. Me and the other young brothers trying to do our best to be a part of it. But instead of you getting rid of me and never letting me roll, you were patient enough to say, let me show you how to move in the diamond, let me show you how to walk, how to do this. What gave you that patience with dealing with such a high risk detail, but still seeing that we want to be a part of it, but learning how to teach us instead of just getting rid of us?
Well, because it becomes a teaching moment, not just for you. Everybody that's around experience the moment and become a part of whatever takes place in that moment. And we all learn. The reason we do it sometimes in that manner is because that's how he did it. Because one, it sends an alarm to the person that you're about to offend. And then it also checks those who are around who could be offensive. So what happens is it works in more ways than one, and it keeps you out of harm. There are many times when we moved, and the minister not only tell us, get your hands off the mat, he pull you back, but he'll tell you, look, don't So a lot of people don't know that he guided us on some of these details, because remember, as a young man, I came in, brother, we was aggressive as hell. We was very aggressive. We ain't had no problem putting our hands on you where he was concerned, moving you out the way if you're moving too slow, But the thing was, he looks at it from the other side. How would you feel somebody come pushing you out the way, when all he had to do is, let you know or give you a heads up or move a certain kind of way, and you're going to get out the way because you see it coming. But the bottom line is he always tried to instruct us to be respecters of others, and don't put your hands on someone unless you have to. And when you have to, it's like a marriage. You committed. So if you're going to commit to that person, then know that you don't know how this thing going to turn. So you better make sure that when you make that decision, that no matter which way it goes, you're willing to deal with all of it. So, it's a commitment. So one of the things that we did, we would do that to actually send a signal which checked everybody in the environment in a certain kind of way. But the bottom line is there's always people that are ready to go. I remember we was walking through a lobby one day, and a dude looked a certain way and he flinched his hand. Before you know it, I was already in motion. The minister grabbed me like, oh, but it was just his movement. First, I'm looking at his eyes, and he didn't mean no harm, but he flinched a certain kind of way, And as I saw him flinch, I was already in motion, and it was like Rashad, and that's how it is. I remember another time we got into it, and this dude got real ugly and nasty. He actually was in law enforcement, and he was nasty as hell, went crazy and lost all control. And I'm sitting up there looking at him like, yo, man, you don't know the level of commitment you're about to make here. He thinking that he's in charge and it's gonna go a certain way. And I'm like, yo, man, this is a marriage. You have no idea how committed I am to this relationship you're about to create. And when you're in a marriage, the old vows say, to death do we part.
Allahu Akbar.
If that's the type of commitment we're making, if we don't like each other, let's avoid that. Because if we really link up, it ain't gonna be pretty for neither one of us. So let's avoid it. That's how we try to train the brothers. And the movement is to make sure that whenever you're committed, you understand the level of commitment, because you may not go back home after you're committed. You may find yourself based on the commitment you made in a situation where you never get to see your family again. But are you willing to take on that type of responsibility? So the thing is, you do it and you don't worry about what consequences are. I'm in a marriage. Hell, I chose you to, be with you for life. So this is what's going to happen when they made this commitment. So, we was in a situation like that with a minister, like, hit me on my leg, like, yo, Rashad, it's all right. And I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Because I was like, hell, been like a marriage to me. This person ready to get married. They don't want to let this go. So hell, if that's what we going with it, it means that much to me. I'm in it.
Yes, sir.
So that's a part of how we were trained. We were trained that way. And sometimes when we give instructions, the instruction is not necessarily for the person that we're talking to. It's for those that are around.
Beautiful.
So
yes,
that's
sir. Okay, well, Brother Rashad, well, speaking of training, one of the things that you always did was cross-train all of the young brothers, making sure we motorcade, honor, every single thing. You wanted to make sure that we were well versed in many areas in security. What made you so adamant about teaching us all of that? And when did you ever have to use each level of training while assisting the minister? Did you have to go drive and everything? Did you have to do everything?
Well, you always prepare yourself to do everything because you never know what you're going to have to do. A lot of times, like when we train the young brothers, when we train the young brothers, a lot of young brothers like training in this area, training in that area. I'm like, no. If I tell you what to do and you're constantly looking based on what I tell you, then you'll miss so many other things. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you the principle and let you be as free as you can be and prepare yourself for anything that comes. Because if I tell you, always look for this, always look for that, always do this, always, and you start to do that, it's going to be so easy to slip by you because you're so focused on what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But if I train you properly and allow you to think, then you become more aware of your environment and you become much more productive in what it is that you actually do. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he said, get up and do something. He didn't have to tell you what to do because he know if you was under his charge and you was up, then you was already conscious, and there's a certain work that conscious people do. So he didn't tell you what to do. He said, get up and do something. So what are you going to do is based on your level of consciousness and how you think, and based on your exposure and based on your environment. So now you're going to produce accordingly. So he don't have to control everything you think because he actually controls your thinking. So like I say, he who controls the diameter of your mind controls the circumference of your activity.
Yes, sir.
So if I got your mind, I don't have to worry about how far you're going to go. I can let you be as free as you want because you ain't going further than what I've given you unless you take the next level. So the bottom line is never try to control what a man does with how he thinks. Show him the principles of the application of thinking, and he'll come up with the concept of what needs to be done. I ain't got to tell you when to put your hands on somebody, because if I have to tell you, I don't need you there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Process. It's a part of the process.
Okay, well, Brother Rashad, I wanted to ask you about this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was speaking at the Civic Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is like right when the rapper 2 Chainz was about to take off and like drop some serious like hit after hit after hit. But this was in his name. His name used to be Titty Boy when he was with Ludacris, and a lot of people didn't know him. So you had a regular jogging suit, and the minister was about to come, and I was backstage, kind of assist you, and I saw that they wouldn't let Brother Ahmad was trying to get 2 Chainz in, and he going back and forth with the security, and you trying to deal with the minister, and you stopped everything, and you didn't even know who 2 Chainz was. It didn't matter, like you didn't care he was a rapper, but you still solved the case. Got him in. You didn't even put your suit on and stuff because you were dealing with security protocol. You're dealing with all of that. And I, of course, I admire you, so I'm going to study how you handled all of that. How did you learn how to de-escalate situations on behalf of the minister? Because you there for security, but you're doing protocol, you're doing all kind of other stuff. How did you learn how to do that?
Well, I was following his mind and his heart. I do what he would be pleased with. And if he's not pleased with it, then I don't do it. Everything that I thought about the outcome of how he would respond to the outcome. So whenever I engaged dealing with people, I tried to carry what he would carry, the love, the mind. But the bottom line is, I knew that I can turn that over because of the authority. So I could be kind, but now I got to keep this wolf off you because, everybody behind me ain't, they ain't in that mode. But because I'm out front and I'm thinking, I can control the movement, I can control the weather, or I can release this storm. It don't take nothing to release a storm. We can go from hot to cold in a minute. You start dealing with them black brother, ain't nothing gonna trigger them quicker than you messing with the minister or messing with his environment. And that'll go like that. So the bottom line is I try to bring to it his mind. And like I said, if it ain't no threat, it ain't no problem. Rest of it is just ego. If it ain't a threat, no matter what it is, man. If somebody want to see it, somebody want to be a part of it, what's wrong with that? Everybody wants to be a part. Everybody wants to see those that they love or those that they see that they respect to a certain level. So when you see people like that, rather than always trying to condemn and block, make a way so that they can happen for them. I used to always tell a brother, make somebody's day to day. Somebody that's not even expecting it. Set it up where they may get a picture of the minister, set it up where they can get into the venue in a manner that they never thought was possible for them. Everywhere you go, someone should say, man, them brothers really took care of me. They did this, that, and another. Like the minister, somebody asks you for something to eat and you give them $1. You can't eat off $1. But if you gave them $20, then they'd be like, man, that brother really gave me enough to get something to eat with. So the bottom line is, whatever you do, always try to make a difference. Don't just do it. Do it that it's impactful, that it makes a difference, that the people know that you care, that you love, and that you're serious about it. Even when you have to whoop them. You put that whooping on them and you let them know, well, you made me do this. How your parents, you forced me. You out there trying to sell a paper and they get all crazy. I will never forget, man, brother came to me, foul, wow. And boy, that bow tie fell off for a second. And that man's eyes opened up and he said, man, I didn't know you always like that. You talking that stuff about me, and look at you. I'm saying, look at the stuff you just talking about. You was all up my face talking a certain kind of way. Hell, I like, you scratched the bow tie off. That bow tie fell, man. Now you dealing with that nigga Farrakhan just saying. You done took me back into that mindset. And, that's when you put it back on once you come back to, being civil. You're like, brother, it's not that serious, but, don't push me. Don't push me. You knock the papers out my hand and think I'm just going to be picking them up. At a certain point, somebody might get you up off that ground. You keep pressing me, man.
Yes, sir.
So, when you understand that you have the ability and the power to bring about a positive change, use it as such. You ain't got to jump on everybody because you have the strength and the power. That's one of the things I never wanted to see or been a part of, is taking advantage of people, especially when I have the strength. So when I have the strength, then that's when I'm you'll find me in my greatest moments, because now I'm going to give you from a whole nother angle, because you're no threat. So if you're not a threat, then bottom line is, brother, I don't see no reason why he can't be afforded the accommodation to see or to sit or to be a part of, even if he doesn't have the big title. Make it special for somebody. Maybe somebody say, I ain't nothing to do with it, man. Them brothers took me in there. I was in there with all them celebrities, man. They'll never forget that. So bottom line is, remember, man, they people just like you are. So you treat people the way you want to be treated, and that's the way the minister basically trained us. And those that worked under him, that know him, know that's his way. So you ain't gonna just, if you do something and catch somebody in the wrong, you really have to catch him in the wrong in order for the minister to say you justified. The minister used to tell us, you see people urinating on the building, don't beat the man up, teach the man. You see, the Savior didn't come to leaders of our people. You see, you teach the people, man. So if you can teach and give them a valuable lesson, then you do that. But some lessons require a little more discipline. So you have to pull out the paddle, and that becomes a whole nother lesson.
Yes,
and
sir.
Then he be screaming, don't do that. No, I know you're not going to do it no more. This pressure's a little tight. I understand. We just want to impress upon your mind the seriousness of what you did so that you don't do it again. But our thing is not beating our people, man. Disrespecting them. What are you stopping them from seeing? What are you stopping them from doing? You just want to be a part of whatever it is. And if they really just can't be a part of it, then you have to let them know. Bottom line is, private party this time. I can't do nothing for you. Yes, but hey, go get you here's a bean pie, man. Go over there, sit back and watch and see what you study and learn, but you can't come in. So no, that's all it is. That's his way. That's his way.
Oh, praise to Allah. Thank you, Brother Rashad, and thank you to everyone who was watching and showing love. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for each like, share, and subscription. We made 10,000 by the grace of Allah. Thank you all, everybody who ever subscribed, shared, and showed love. And thank you for every anonymous Cash App, every sponsor. And thank you, Brother Rashad. We come right back. We got so many more questions for you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We truly appreciate it, and we truly appreciate your family as well, Brother Rashad.
But likewise, we thank you.
Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Also, S Enterprise, Barber and Beauty products. They have a plant-based kosher wave brush. Their website is kosherwave.com with the K, 770-997-6000. Brother Jeffrey, Circe Muhammad, Sister Stephanie Lasan Muhammad. Please support them. They are back and forth from Africa to America doing trade and commerce. Do for self. All right. Yes, sir, Brother Rashad. I also wanted to ask you, speaking of security, when you travel abroad, of course we know locally, but when you travel abroad, what is some of your favorite times with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan overseas?
Well, it has always been a pleasure to travel with him, whether it was internationally or nationally. Just to be able to travel with him is an experience within itself. To be afforded the accommodations to interact with the other governments, the other law enforcement agencies, different branches of military, and so on and so forth. Those have always been highlights as a soldier to interact with other soldiers. And it's interesting because one thing about soldiers is that a soldier recognizes a soldier. So sometimes we may not even spoke the same language, but we understood each other's functions and we understood the purpose of being. So you related well. So I was able to get along with soldiers all around the world. There's certain people that I even think about today that I carry with me that was in the military in different countries. That brothers that was in the Gambia, that we developed real tight relationships in those little moments, but naturally in Libya, naturally in Jamaica and different countries like that there, naturally in Dagestan. There were certain bonds, even though we were not together long, based on the activity, we became brothers for life. Brothers that you would give your life for, brothers that you would get in the trench with. So those were highlights, the different cuisines, the different cultures, the different people, the learning and understanding international trade, international relationships. One of the things I'll say to our people is that, everything is built upon relationships. And relationships are just as simple as how you relate to your parents, how you relate to your neighbors, how you relate to co-workers and fellow travelers. How do you relate to people? The only thing is that you're just on different levels, dealing with different subject matter, but it's all about relationships. It's all about communicating. It's all about respect. And it's all about understanding what it is that is required and what is demanded and what can be done and what can't be done. Knowing what to ask for and when to ask and how to ask. Knowing the possibilities of getting what it is you desire. So all of these different relationships that were formed, be able to witness it, to be able to witness the offer of heads of states and how heads of states get business done when they want to do business with you. Whenever you want to do business with anyone, I don't care how big the corporation, it's just someone that has to make a decision. One person in most cases get to make a decision, and that will determine whether or not you make the billion or the million or the 500 million or the double digits or a few 100,000 or some nickels or some pennies. One decision. And if you can communicate that, then it may not even be the person you're communicating to. But if you communicate well, then it always travel well. So you open up doors that you didn't even know existed just because you were able to be genuine in your communication. So relationships is one of the biggest things that I've learned traveling on the international scene and understanding how the world is really one stage. And you may have different pockets of it, and someone may have given these pockets different names. But my mother said something like this: people are people, I don't care where you go. So no matter where you are, people do what people do. And as long as you understand that, you operate according to the highest principles, and there's always a principle that's greater than you that backs you, and that's God. As long as you operate out of that realm and know that God, anything that He don't want you to have, you don't want. And that which He wants you to have, can't no one stop you from getting. And once you make up your mind, then it's just a matter of communicating what it is in your mind and accomplishing the goal. So when it came to traveling with him, we were able to, in very short periods of time, establish great communication bond because we're moving a certain way. And when you're moving, you jump off a plane, you ain't got time to sit around and plan out everything. So you have to trust these people to a certain degree. So in that, you learn their movement. So if I went into another country and there were people assigned to us, just by observing the people, you develop their character. You see their character. You see who they are. You study them. So it's like you don't have a lot of time to waste. So you start reading people and learning to read people in quick manners, because if you misread, you can find yourself in a hole somewhere because you miscalculated. So you're always trying to think ahead of what you were running into. And you look at people based on their movement, based on their how they communicate, and based on their language, and determine you have to make decisions. Is this a person that I can trust completely, or do I got to keep my eyes open on this? And in some cases, you have to do both, but you have to be able to recognize that and know that when you get yourself into a situation, you have to understand how you're getting out of it. And the other thing is, whenever you're into a new terrain, one of the biggest things is people go around when you're traveling trying to remember streets. Well, if they change the name on the street, you'll be lost. But one thing they can change, landmarks. They ain't getting rid of a building. They ain't getting rid of that church. They ain't moving that bank. They ain't moving that store, But you look for a sign, you may not be able to see the sign or the name of a street. There's some countries you go into, the name of the streets are tied on the building. And if you don't know, you're looking for a street sign and you don't even recognize that they're on the corner of a building somewhere. If you have bad sight, you may not recognize or read the words, but if you remember the size of the building, you remember the windows, so things like that there, you have to take to heart. So, and then the other thing is just that, like I said, you're learning different cuisines, all of that. So it's like being introduced to a world. And now, how do you take what you've learned to utilize it in another area? With what he's given us, those that went with him, if you studied and watched them, you can go anywhere and basically negotiate and deal on any level for anything that we need. And the major thing is this: wherever you go, never be intimidated by others. Always remember, that if you're dealing with a man, you're a man. He gonna put his pants on the same way you put yours on. He gonna button up his shirt the same way you button up your shirt, or put a hat on his head. So the thing is, know that the playing field is level. The only thing is they have to make you think you're inferior in order to make you operate at a certain way, or from a certain disadvantage. But as long as you recognize that you're superior to any man, because God has made you who you are, and you're a reflection of God, and you can be perfect wherever you are. And even if you don't know, be humble enough to recognize that, but never compromise the integrity of being a man.
Good, Rashad. Yes, sir. Beautiful. And people are bear witness and texting me and putting all in the comments. Thank you. All praises to a lot of people are sending love to you, Brother Rashad. I wanted to ask you about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke, let's say exactly 2 years ago, but he was speaking about the famous incident with the bull from Fear, Faith, and Truth. And he spoke about how you were there and others were there, but he said your name, dealing with the bull situation. And of course, he went to details that a lot of people didn't know about. I didn't know anything about the details of the Fear, Faith, and Truth situation, other than the bull was in the road. How did you? How did that feel for you to be there and see a real bull and to have to be on security? But the minister's saying y'all wait, and how, can you let us know how that went?
Well, one of the things about the minister, he is a man of faith. And most people remember the bull, but I think the most interesting part of that story most people missed. See, and the thing that I think they missed because they look at the bull is he said that he was listening to a tape of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad where he said that Allah did not make us to fear anything or to fear the animals. And the only reason that you fear is because you don't have the knowledge of. And he said that shortly after listening to this particular tape, he found himself staring down a bull. And naturally, the first thing came to him was the fear, but the thought was what his father taught. So rather than succumb to the fear, he challenged his fear based on his faith, only to find out that what his father told him was real, because he said that if you're not afraid, the fear has to go somewhere. So know that if you ever get into a situation and you're not afraid, all you have to do is keep standing on that, and the person that you're challenging, know that the fear present in them. Because if you're not afraid, it has to go somewhere. And if they're not afraid, then the bottom line is you're either going to come to a conclusion or you're going to release this energy. But know that there's going to be a victor, and the victor generally becomes the person that has the lack of fear. Because as long as you're not made afraid, then you can do what is necessary to become the victor. So as I looked at it, the greatest thing was he was operating according to his faith. And that was a testament of how you have to operate and how you have to use your faith. As soon as it comes up, you have to challenge whatever comes up. So now as I looked at the situation, naturally, what comes to my mind is, what would happen to me if something this animal did to him causes him harm, and how I have to go back. So when I saw the bull, I saw ribs and lamb chop, not lamb chop, I saw beef stew and, oxtail soup. I saw it as a meal that someone would have, because in my mind, that animal was going to be neutralized. That was my mind.
Beautiful.
And there was a little doubt in my mind that it would be neutralized, but I really had the confidence that animal would have been neutralized.
Powerful. Yes, sir, Rashad. Excellent. Praise be to God.
You can talk to your father about the power of neutralizing things in situations like that. He'll tell you more.
Yes, sir. Okay, bro, Rashad, speaking of my father, all these years, and you got to see him, you all evolved from the 80s, 90s, 2000, and to see you all hug and embrace and my graduation. What was it like being around my father, for all these years? What was he like?
Well, your father's a very unique man and different man, and he's a workaholic. And when he's focused on anything, that's where his focus is. And one of the things is your father focused in on his work as a supreme captain, which was the movement of the men and the movement of the nation in many areas, not just the physical movement of the men, but financially and everything else, that he had an intricate role in developing and helping the nation to grow in the manner which it did. I'll even go as far as to say it like this. Most people think that Malcolm really was the core to the development of the nation, but in truth, it was the minister. And the nation made more strides under the minister leadership in New York than anybody else during that time. And it was the minister who supported the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that allowed him to do the things that he did around the country, because he said during that time he was bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars into Chicago. And not only that, they were leading in the fish program, or the sales of the fish, and leading in other business and so on and so forth. So he was like the engine behind a lot of the development and growth. But your father was very much like that in the nation. He was the engine behind the growth of the nation during that period. 1991 all the way up into 2000. He was that engine. Most people don't see the engine. They only see the beauty of the car. They only see the beauty of the movement. And that's how your father was. And I say that to say that he was involved in his work. And your father, along with others, Brother Mustafa, would allow me to focus in on the minister. I didn't have any other assignment other than that. As you may know, a lot of the brothers work with their father as count execs. They were part of the staff as he rolled out the different programs for the final call, as he rolled out the program for the bread or whatever he tried to do. They were intricate in his movement and helping to move the nation or state in touch with the nation. So they became, part of his staff. Myself in a room basically stayed in support of the minister. And we were allowed to do that. So all of my work as relates to your father was related to the security work around the principal. So outside of that, like even when it came to the mosque, I may have been a lieutenant short-lived. I never really wanted to be. I was never a lieutenant in that sense. And I was never a lieutenant for periods of time, very short periods of time that I was a lieutenant, even under his leadership. I wasn't one of those lieutenants. Basically, my total function in life revolved around what the minister did every day. I woke up and that's why I reported to. I didn't report to no other place. And even sometimes when it would be tight and they wanted me to come to other places, my main priority was going over to the palace or to be wherever he was under any circumstances. And that was the gist of my relationship with your father, affording me to do that. Like I thought about it the other night, I was involved in instituting a lot of different things that they operate with under his leadership. Like when it comes to the lapel pins, the bag, the IDs, all of those type of things that helped us to get to the next level. I was involved with that under his leadership. I was allowed to do those things. So when it came to the designing of the security pin, when it came to the designing of the lapel pin for the brothers that sold the final call or sold the most final calls, all of those things I did. When it came to radio communication, at a certain point, I was responsible for getting various units and moving around doing things like that. So different things like that. But my primary assignment was basically security. And everything else came secondary, everything. And with that, I was allowed a little more freedom to basically focus on security. And that was the thing, So like I say, when they had the late nights at the final call, Rashad wasn't there late nights. If Rashad was doing it was at the palace or it was with the minister. And that's how, those of us that did that would do that. So that was our relationship from that. And the other thing was, as I watched what your father went through, you get to learn, So I learned from the things that I seen him do, things that he went through, that I know one day I would have to go through or one day I would face. So that became a learning lesson. So I would learn from that. And one of the things is, you always show appreciation and love for those that serve, no matter what they did. When I look at your father and the men like him, these are men that sacrifice their lives, and sometimes we sacrifice our lives, but we don't, sometimes you're not afforded the respect that is due based on your sacrifice. And it's nothing new. The Honorable Min Farrakhan sacrificed his life only to find him in a condition, in a position where he had to depend totally upon Allah. And that's all of us. You're going to go through it. So never get so high that you can't come down. Because if you can't come down, you'll never go back up. And know that no matter how high you get, at some point, you're going to come down. And you want to be able to come down where you're always honored and respected. So that's the gist of that. So there's always been a level of respect and honor based on the works that I've known that he's done and continue to do. And like I say, we operated from that perspective, that vantage point, and that's where we were. So, and like I say, and everybody have different accounts. You know, some people may have a different account of how Rashad related during those times with the things that we did. But as I recall it, you know, most of my time was absolutely spent with the principal. Absolutely. You know, if you ask who did I spend the most time with in the nation, I would have to say Harun, the minister, and those that was around Tada, the Salam, those that was right there all day. So, like I say, from morning to night, that was the focus most of our days, and that's what we did, and like I say, that was my relationship with your father was based on my relationship to the minister and working.
Beautiful. So. Excellent, Rashad. All praises to Allah, and people bear witness. And salute to not just to you and your family, Brother Rashad, but the other brothers that you mentioned as well. May Allah continue to bless you all. All right, Brother Rashad, I wanted to go back to when you mentioned Qubilah Shabazz in that time period and how the minister, I didn't know he paid for her attorneys. And, I just saw on YouTube, The Plot to Kill Farrakhan. You see the headline. I'm watching the YouTube. I remember we was younger, but I was a little kid, so I don't fully understand that time period. But looking back at it, how were you? That's your responsibility. You just said you were with the minister all day and night. You see the FBI and they're coming to him. How did you handle that from your vantage point?
Well, you always have to remember that I don't have independent movement of thought when it comes to him. Our movement and our thought is related directly to the movement around him and what takes place. So there are a lot of things that you see, a lot of things that you do, but you don't get engaged in everything. There's certain aspects of it that you are engaged in. There's certain aspects of it you have to follow. There's certain aspects that you come to know. And when you're in that circle, you come to understand the formulation of how things take place. So naturally, when they had the press conference, when things go down, I'm there when he calls for the laborers. I'm there, like you hear Ava talk about where he called and we met. I'm there during these times when he called in laborers and meeting with them when they've been sent out and stuff like that there. So you get to see it from an inside perspective, and then when they have the meeting with Betty Shabazz and you're there when him and Betty meet, or when Mother Khadijah and Betty meet, or like when him and Qubilah met with Mike Wallace and all that kind of stuff. So you're there. So you get a chance to see the energy, you get a chance to see the mix. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because as I look at the Shabazz family now, and they're now suing the United States government.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I'm the person to extend it, but I would extend an invitation to the Shabazz family to come back to the nation. With all that you're learning and all that you've experienced, and that we really didn't do to your father what the world has been made to believe. And there are some things that we may have disagreed upon, which is natural in any relationship. And I'm saying you have that with your parents, you have that with your siblings, you have that with your people that you work with. But I'm saying that as we mature, their father has done a work that they're worthy to be a part of the blessings that God has created, because no matter what happened, he permitted it. So my thing would be for them to know that you always have a place in this nation. That would be my thought, And I would say that whenever the Shabazz family feel the time is right to come back into the fold, that we would embrace them. And they should be embraced. And they should be shown the love and respect if they desire to come back. And that's just like, even if I find myself in a position where something came up and I found myself in bad standards, I don't want to deny my family the opportunity to become a part of God's reality because I got handled or I mishandled myself. I would always want my family to enjoy the fruit and the benefits of what God has promised this nation, even if I fell short. So my thing is, I would always extend an invitation to them. And I think that's the minister's heart.
Yes, sir.
I don't think he would deny any of them or the grandchildren a place in this nation. And I think that if they ever came, that they would be honored, you know. And I don't want to say it because it's out of place, but there are people that are honored in our nation today that may have not necessarily stayed firm a certain kind of way, and later came back and said, "Brother Minister, I apologize. I was a part of the group that was planning to do this, or had this on our mind." But the bottom line is, Brother Minister, we've watched you, we've seen you grow, and we are sorry for what we done that ill affected you. We have to be able to recognize that and continue to move on. So I would say that, any of the workers and their families that want salvation, come on home. We ain't gonna turn you away from your salvation because of misunderstandings, you know. So any of them, if you have like Brother Conrad's on your show,
yes, sir.
His children are always welcome to the nation. They can come to the nation and participate. So we're not turning the believers or our people away. If we are the door to salvation, and we offer that door, we open that door. Only God can close that door, unless you did something that was so foul that we can't accept you based on what He's given us. But other than that, you don't have to carry the burden of some stuff happened 30 years ago. For all your ass in, let's keep moving, man. Let's go after our people. Let's work together. You learn from your end, whatever you learn, and we learn from our end. Let's put this thing together and have a marriage, especially in light of all the truth that's coming out, especially when you see the government hidden the hand, especially after you falsely accused a man for just being a brother and a soldier and someone that loved his leader and his teacher. So that's my thought on that in that regard. Mm-hmm.
Excellent per usual, Rashad. Phenomenal. Praise be to Allah. And of course, people are bearing witness and watching and showing love all around the world. Man, Rashad, of course, I just interviewed Brother Elijah Shabazz from New York before you, and he's been to Mecca and made Hajj and done all this stuff. And I said, Brother Elijah, are you an imam? Or imam? Like, you speak Arabic fluently? I'm just a brother, so I understand. So I'm not gonna call you Minister Rashad or make the target on your back. But Brother Rashad can teach so well. He can bear witness to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in such a great way. So I honor you and respect you, Rashad, because you like a minister to me. Because man, you do a great job, Rashad. I just want to let you know we salute you, and I don't want to think like I'm just a Brother Rashad. I know, but you're so much more than that to me, and to many others, Rashad. So much more.
Josh, it's just pray for me. Just pray for your brother, man. And if Allah would have me to administer what I've come to understand of His servant, then pray that Allah will open that door, or that I have the capacity to do whatever it is God would have. But like I say, it is what it is, man. There's things that's on my heart as relates to the minister or administering to the believers. And hopefully before we close, I'll share certain things,
absolutely,
or a portion of that as we get ready to go into the new year. So, but yeah, whatever God would have for us, brother. Like I say, the greatest title that we could wear is brother. And don't think so much of yourself, really don't, because nobody talks about the man that put the moon out there. You hear about Shabazz and how his family went down into the jungle, but you don't hear about all the others that worked in concert with God to bring about the realities of what we see today. So no matter how big you are, just know that you are a star in the constellation.
Yes,
and
sir.
Some stars are. So just be thankful to be a star in the absence of the sun, that you carry the light of God wherever you go, and no matter how bright or how dim that light is, the thing is just to have the light of God present in you.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, Rashad, we stay right here then. And this is why I love having Rashad on, because it's a conversation. We just having a conversation in the presence of the world. You spoke about my father's trial and how you learned from that, and I've learned from you. Many people in the nation who have been under trial, whatever, lost a post, got assigned somewhere different, take a stumble, and that may be the end, and they go a different route. You have, I mean, I watch, not just me, I mean, not just me, but my drill team, the young brothers from all around the world. We watch you just fall in and keep going and move forward. And um, what was some of the driving force behind you not, going away? You know what I'm saying? Like not just leaving.
Brother, you have to understand that I am a believer. I believe in what he has taught. I believe it to be true. You know, you have to understand, bro, I came into this at the age of 19. I'm now 60. I didn't come this far to get to the point of disbelief because I understood a point. No, any point that I don't understand, I pray on and I try to figure a way to accept it because everything that I've gotten from him is true. So no matter what he told me, if I didn't have the foundation to understand it, I accepted it until I could come up with in my mind the justification of it. And what I didn't understand, I would leave that alone because I knew that somewhere alone I didn't have the formula to come up with the proper solution. But I knew that if I studied about it long enough or went about it, that the formula will come up where I can come into the solution and the answer to the reality, because anything that is based in truth can be proven. And in order to prove it, all you need is time and the proper formula.
Yes,
if you have the proper and you have the time to get at it, then you're going to solve the problem no matter how difficult it is, as long as you keep the right mind going at the problem. And what happens is every problem has a solution. And the thing to every solution is understanding the root of the problem.
Yes, sir.
And once you understand the root of the problem, then you can go into the root, and in that is the solution, because the solution is in everything that was created. So when you start talking about the human being, everything that you need to help yourself is already within you. And what happens is you have to learn how to tap into whatever it is that you need that would allow you to get what you need to continue to thrive. So when you start feeling a certain way, your body tells you what you need, but you're not in tune, so you don't know what to go get. So you have to go to grandma. Grandma said, boy, go over there and take one of them bitters. Get over there and eat some of that. Or sit your butt down and take some of this cod liver oil, or take some of this oil of oregano, or whatever it may be. Because they understood what was taking place, and they understood the herbs that would allow it to bring back the balance. They understood the food. And now you have, I listen to all these, as the minister say, soothsayers of different people of knowledge that are out there, but all of them don't even recognize that their rooted is in the Honorable Muhammad. So you have the Dr. CVs and the young brother that's coming out now. These people are talking as if they discovered something when everything they're saying is right in how they live. They just studied it from a different perspective.
Yes,
and he said that your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. So the bottom line is, we didn't go study all the different aspects of food and what they do, but there are people out there studying, and now they're coming back telling you, yeah, you can heal yourself with this. But that's what he taught. But you just studied what he taught, and you went and found out what it is that you need. So you start finding out the different herbs and the different minerals and how to put them into the diet or how to put them into the body, which cause the heat or help to heal it. But that's what he told us to do. So you ain't getting around Elijah Muhammad. So as I see it, this is a part of our development. This is what happens. So that's, from our perspective, that's where we are with that.
Thank you, Brother Rashad. Thank you very much. And thank you for your humility. Praise to Allah. And people are, of course, bear witness in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay, Brother Rashad, you want to read some of the comments? People will bear, Brother Bryce, Teach, Brother Damien, Sister Naima, Salam family. Thank you, Naima, for watching. Brother Gregory Nielsen says, very powerful, Brother Rashad. Very well said. Thank you. Shaka Shakur says, teach, Brother Rashad. Brother Gregory Muhammad, 10,000 Fearless. Thank you very much. He's teaching. Ryan Muhammad, that's why we joined the final, joined the FOI and joined the final call. Thank you very much. Brother Benny Mahdi says, yes, sir. Brother Gregory. All right. Okay, now I'm going to fix that. Okay. Sister Angelita, Islam is mathematics. That is right. That is correct. But Adi on the source says, shout out from Mosque number 6. Thank you very much. Brother Rashad you gave him some great advice at his carry-out restaurant, Salam Eatery in DC. He said you can never work too hard when you're working for yourself. He thanks you for that advice. Thank you to everyone who is showing love to Brother Rashad. People watching all around the world. Excellent. All right, Brother Rashad, my next question is, oh, I want to tell this quick story. We were the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was at the press club, Washington D.C. My mother was on check post. This is once again trying to get on, working with the team, working with you, getting approved from Brother Rashad. And I was to tell my sisters, I was like, Brother Rashad, very serious. We putting the walkthroughs up. The ministers come, about to come through, and you were, teaching me how to do walkthroughs. All the stuff I didn't know, but during that time, I'm watching you mount cars, jump out. If y'all don't know Brother Rashad, there are people who may not know how he's very humble. Rashad is a master of security. Like, that's what he is, and people and all this good stuff. But at the press club, after it was over, you had briefings, debriefings, and I just studied you how well you protected the minister close and up close and at a distance. But I wanted to know, when you see the minister go from the final call building, or before the final call, whenever you first saw him, so now he's at the press club and he's teaching. You see him all around the world, but that press club everybody was there. It was cameras. We couldn't talk. It was just a real good detail from my vantage point. But I wanted to ask you, when you see him go from, you with him this whole time, what goes through your mind when you see the public? He's in D.C. at the press club. Like, it's a big deal. The president, everybody watching him. What goes through your mind when you see him deliver the word of God the way he does, but never change, never compromise on point number 12, Most High Elijah Muhammad being alive? All of these things, all the way to the press conferences, to all the, what goes through your mind when you witness that? Because I'm watching you right there the whole time, and like, what goes through your mind when you see the minister stand 10 toes down?
The minister is 100, meaning that there's no compromise in what he has accepted and what he believes. And the minister goes through his life, has gone through his life as a guided man. There's no time where he's left to just think by himself. He's always in the mind of his teacher. He's always thinking of what his teacher would have him to do, what his teacher would have him to say. He's always constantly reflecting over the mind and the heart and the aspiration of his teacher. Now, as the minister moved around, I never really got caught up in his mission.
Okay.
Even though I heard and didn't know the effect of it in my own life, I had a different mission as related to him, and my whole mind was consumed with him getting to and from where he had to get to and from. And not only getting there and back, but getting there based on a certain level of integrity. So my whole mind envisioned his movement in such a way that it was smooth and clear for him.
Yes, sir.
And always trying to make it smooth and clear for him, making sure that there's nothing in his path that alters his mind and what he has to do. So when I wake up in the morning, my mind was not what I'm going to do, what is he doing today? My mind was, where's he going today? My mind was, what time do I need to get where he's at today? See, my mind was, did I need to get somewhere to him today? See, so whatever around him, as he was busy doing what he was doing, my mind was busy on trying to make sure that everything that he needed happened around him. And in that, I became consumed with what he would do. So when he was not doing anything, I'm reflecting over him and what he done. So I didn't know that I had learned as much as I had learned about him, because in my mind, I was just busy trying to get it done. But in getting it done, I learned so much of his way and so much of him.
Yes, sir.
Because to get it done was not to get it done in my mind. It was getting it done according to what he wanted. So that if it didn't happen the way he wanted, I didn't have to, I don't want to be the person that he had to come and tell me it didn't go right. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. I wanted that when I was involved with it, he don't have to think about it. He already know that if Rashad got it, you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'll never forget one day he asked me to go to the Salam. And while I'm at the Salam, and he sent me home early from Phoenix. And I'm at the Salam preparing for Savior's Day. And we like day one into Savior's Day, damn near day two. And he hadn't made it into the city yet, but he called me on the phone one day. And he said, Rashad, I just received the word that the amount of people that I'm feeding at the McCormick place, we don't have enough seats. They only have 6,000 seats. I would pay for more, but they don't have the room. Mm. So it's about 1,500 people that don't have a place to eat, but I want them to eat at the Salam. Now just imagine, I'm already swamped thinking about everything that needs to be done at the Salam that I'm like, man, I can't, 1,500 people, this gonna kill the whole operation, what we got going here.
Yes, sir.
So he said that to me. So as soon as he finished, I'm trying to muster up how I'm gonna say, Brother Minister, I can't do that. That's a lot of people. We don't have it. I'm short-staffed. I don't have food. He said, look, before I could even finish opening my mouth, he said, son, whatever it takes, just do the job. I'm on the plane. I can't talk. And hung up. And I'm like, wow. Now, what I'm going to go say, Brother Minister, I can't do it. So now he done gave me the assignment. I'm like, this thing is crazy. So I stopped everything. Everybody that's in the restaurant, stop. I don't care what you're doing. Everybody stop. Come down into the Blue Seas area. I need to speak with everyone. I called them all into a circle, everybody that was in the building, and I shared with them what he wanted. And I shared with them that it was going to be a difficult task, but we have to do it because this is what he wanted. Mm-hmm. After I shared it with them, we said a prayer. And then I sent the people back to their stations. While we're prepping, the people start coming. And remember, we weren't prepared to feed them that early, but now they're coming in there so they can get fed. So we feed everybody that comes in the place. Everybody. And the believers that are coming now saying, but we want to hear the minister. How are we going to hear the minister? And, we all here and he's at the plaza. I said, don't worry about it. I said, you all help me get the food to the people that want to eat. Help me clean this place up. I'll get everybody to the venue and I'll get you all inside where you can hear the minister. That ain't going to be a problem. We fed everybody that came through them doors. When it's time to go, we motorpooled down to the place. I took them through the VIP route. I parked their cars at all the VIP places, brought them in through the VIP entrance, and everybody got in. And those that came ate and heard the minister. And the minister asked a question when he was speaking. How many of all that didn't get a chance to eat here? I sent you to the Salam. Did that happen? Did everybody get to eat? And the people said, yes, sir, Brother Minister, that happened. And brother, that was like one of those moments. But that was our life. Whatever he wanted to done, we would do it. And at one point he told me, I depend on you to get it done. So nobody do it. I expect it to be done if I ask you to do it. And if I couldn't get no one to do it, no matter what it was, we would find a way to get it done. And no matter what he asked, even to this day, everything that he asked me to do still come into my mind as I have it on my checklist. So I haven't given up on the Salam because the Salam is not functioning to the level that he intended it when he built it. So in my mind, it's the palace of the people. So I'm trying to figure out a way how to get the people in there without worrying about what it costs and what it takes. I'm thinking that he wanted to be the palace of the people, then make it that. Whatever it takes, make it that. And if we have to come together and feed the people from there, because we come into a day where it's going to be some soup kitchens, and he said he wanted to have enough food and a bowl that they can get them to the next day with a piece of meat in there and a bone so that they have something to hold on to. So the bottom line is, get into these days, the Salam has to be prepared. If it doesn't do anything, it feeds our people. And if they ain't getting them a bean soup and a piece of chicken, then they should have that bean soup and chicken, and it should be enough to carry them through the next day. And that bean soup should be so filled with proteins and minerals that when they consume it, that their body continues to grow. And we tell them, don't eat nothing in between, because this is what's going to sustain your life. Get one bowl of bean soup a day. Don't worry about it. It may not seem like much, but it's just what God has prescribed. So we have to be in a position to do that. So that was my mind. Whatever he wanted, wherever he was at, I woke up with that on my mind that this is what I have to do today. And I never thought about his work, but I was present in just about everything that he's ever said. So little did I know that it was being deposited in me. So when I found myself saying certain things, only to go back and listen and see that he said everything that I've said. And there's no such thing as an independent thought. When you're in his presence, know that you're being programmed. And if you allow the program to set in, then you're going to do exactly what God would have you to do. It's just a matter of time that you have to work out all the kinks. But if you just stay in the program, we'll be all right. So that's how I see that aspect of it.
Beautiful, Brother Rashad. All praise due to Allah, and people, of course, bearing witness to our brother Rashad. All right. Thank you very much to everyone in the comments. Okay, so Brother Rashad, I wanted to ask you, there was something else, be studying on YouTube. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking in a prison, and he was going overseas, and you all had linen outfits on, and he was going to speak into a prison. Can you let us know, you're security minded, all kind of different details you've been on, but what is it like being with the minister as he goes into a prison to speak?
Well, you have to understand, I grew up in prison-like environments. We was in Chicago, and when he went to the county jail, there were people in there that said, Brother Rashad, Brother Tyrone, people that I grew up with. So the people in prison are not foreign to the brothers in the mosque.
Okay.
These are people that we grew up with. That was us.
Okay.
If he would have had us in the nation, we would have been in prison. If I had been in the nation, brother, I probably would have been in prison. That's the environment most of us had come from, especially in the early 80s. We come out of those environments. If he wouldn't have pulled us into the nation, a lot of us would have been a part of the crack pandemic or epidemic in some aspect, whether using or selling. But that's what we would have been because we were these people. That was us. That was our environment. So when he went into the prison, it's not foreign. These are the type of people you grew up with. You grew up with all the hustlers, the thieves, the liars, the cutthroats, the murderers. You knew them. If you grew up in an environment, everybody knew somebody could get something.
Yes, sir.
So when they went to prison, you're like, yeah, so-and-so in prison, he's been there X amount of years. So it wasn't nothing new to go into these environments, but you're going into a hostile environment where it can become vulnerable or it can go up any minute. But the minister is such a commander that, and most of the people that have a command of the teachings, you can go into an unruly crowd and get their minds based on the things you're saying. Because the things you're saying, nobody has ever told them. And they shocked. You go in and tell them that you're the original man and the white man is the devil. They're like, I knew this all the time. I just didn't know how to put it together. I figured that's what it was. And I got trapped up in here. See, most of them in there because of what? Passion of crime, trying to get paid, or bottom line, got a little jealous, a little envious of somebody, got caught up with the girl and she, all that kind of foolishness. So this is us. People in prison not different from us. They us. And when you go in there, you have the same environment you have as you going into the street. There's some people that in the streets, they're going to protect you. There's some people, when you go into the prison, they already know ain't nothing going down in here with brother so-and-so. See, Minister Tony tell you about a time when he went over to the one of the gangbangs territory and he didn't have security with him. And the brothers was like, yo, brother, Minister Tony, where your people at, man? You come over here and you ain't got your people. And he asked him, he said, shit, I came over here with you. You gonna let something happen to me? I'm over here with you all. You meant to tell me I come into your house and you ain't got my back? I'm coming to see you. They're like, no, ain't nothing happening to you over here, Brother Minister Tony. Yeah, we understand now. Whenever you want to come amongst us, feel free. As a matter of fact, you can call us and we'll meet you. See? And that's how it is when you come to our people, man. Our people are genuine, man. If you're genuine with them, they recognize, man. The nation, whether they say it or not, is the best thing black people got, man. And the only problem is is white folks won't leave us alone, or the system won't allow us to develop with our own people. So if
yes,
you
sir.
look, like you look at Puffy and you look at R. Kelly, and well, you know what you need to tell all of them? All y'all better come and help the nation now while you got a chance, because they're coming after you next. They're not going to let you use money to fund a revolution for your people to change. And not a revolution as a revolt and fighting, but just to turn away from their evil and wicked ways. So they're not going to allow you to use their money to finance your rise. So the thing you need to do is, while you have time, invest in the nation. Invest in the nation. Puffy, you look at some of these videos, he's talking about what he wanted to do. And, you know, you look at Michael Jackson, what he wanted to do. You look at Prince, brother, they were fighting, but they didn't realize that they had a bigger enemy. But the minister said, you can't fight Satan without no backing. He said, I got the backing of God and my brothers are with me. See? So the thing is, they have to fall in under the protection of Islam. See? And it means that they have to clean up and they have to come on and use their money wisely while they got it. Because right now, most of them are getting locked out of their own funds. So when Michael Jackson started trying to make moves, what did happen? He find himself in a whole nother predicament. Bill Cosby, whole nother predicament. Tyler Perry riding high, but let him try to help his people in a meaningful way. See, as long as you help them within the system of what they created, you're not a threat to them. But you start talking about building something independent for Black people and see how long you're in business. See? So the bottom line is, when it comes to that man, brother, you ain't getting around Farrakhan. There's no getting around him. See? And that's why I say he is the truth, the light, and the way. And if you follow his way, there's nothing they can entrap you with. But they entrap you with you following their way. So you become a freak and they expose you. But yeah, I'm a freak because you made me a freak. You know I was a freak, but I didn't know you was going to use it on me one day, but that's how it is. So come and expose you, say, yeah, y'all didn't know your man was a freak. See, and now you're afraid to come out and do your work because the people looking and laughing and they making fun of you. But remember, if you've been walking into salvation, that's a part of forgiveness. So no matter what you did, if God gave you, these people won't remember you 10 years after you go, 5 years after you go. So the bottom line is, as I look at the minister, brother, and I look at my relationship to him, it was only trying to fulfill a duty by him. So therefore, I was not caught up in what he had to do. I was caught up in the assignment of what I had to do for him so that he could do what he had to do. And in that process, every time that he spoke, his word would go into my heart because I would be there. And my heart and my mind was on him. So his word found place even though I was moving around. His word would always find a place because my heart was after him. So everything that he said, even though I was moving, I would find myself hearing what he said. And that's one thing when you actually can hear what he says, because it's different from saying I listened, but didn't understand what he said. But when you heard and understood what he said, it registers different. So the bottom line is, in my movement, Allah blessed me to be able to hear him. So as he say, when I'm speaking, sometimes there's 2 conversations going on. Well, know that the more you're around him, the more you have those conversations because you're doing the work, but you're also hearing what he has to say. So he's sitting at a table, you watching the people, but you hear his words. See? So same thing when he's speaking, you watching his back, but you moving around, but his words still resonate. We ain't getting around Farrakhan, bro. No getting around him.
Beautiful, Brother Rashad. Okay, we got 2 more questions for you, sir. Well, actually 3.
Okay.
And first of all, everybody's in the comments is showing a lot of love. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and doing what he asked of you. Original salute to you. Thank you very much. Boom, boom. Okay. Okay, people just bear witness. Praise be to Allah. I wanted to ask you, Brother Rashad, about your name and have you have any insight on how the minister, of course, can you let us know how he gave you your name? But all these years later, do you see why he named you Brother Rashad?
Well, I think it was during the criterion when he was saying, I know your name and I know your function. he said that God told, who was that? I think it was when he told them to bow down to Adam. And he told them to tell Adam their names or something along that line. But they couldn't tell Adam, but Adam was able to tell them their names. The minister has been given not only people their names, but he's been giving them their functions. Anyone that he's named, based on what he named you, he's already given you your function. So he said, I know your name and I know your function.
Yes, sir.
See, so he knew me, he knew us better than we knew ourselves. And he knew things that we would do that we had no idea that we'd be a part of. So when he gave me my name, he had already calculated and saw my function. He already knew what I would do. I didn't know. So when he gave me my name, I was like, man, I thought I was gonna get a name like Khaled or something, you know, some warrior, some fighting name or something. And he said, Rashad. I said, Rashad. He said, Rashad. I said, Rashad? I'm like, what is that? And he's like, you know what it means? I'm like, no, sir. You know how to spell it, though? I don't know if I spell it the way he spelled it. I don't know. He spelled it for me, but I don't know if I spell it the same way. Because as he heard it, I'm like, you know, as he said it. But the bottom line was, he said, my name means a guide to the righteous, a guide to the right path. And I found the more I speak, the more I can see the name. The more I'm true to what has been given, the more I'm true to myself, the more I see the name. Beautiful. I truly can see the name when I'm truly in line based on my own being, my own heart. When I'm acting other than myself, then I recognize that, no, that ain't the way. But I know that when I'm true to what he's given and what he's taught, that I am indeed Rashad. I am his Rashad. And what I mean by that is, I can be, as I speak of, a light to those who believe in him. And the reason that I can be a light is because some of what he's given, he's deposited in me.
Yes, sir.
So now you hear me say things that he said. And as long as I'm true to him, then I can be true to you. And as long as I'm true to him, then I can be a guide to you if I'm true to him. And if I'm true to him, then I have to be true to myself and the nature in which I'm created. And in that, I become a guide to those who want to be guided aright. And not that I am given any guidance. It is only because of a light that I've been allowed to consume or take from him. So he's given me, as he's given us, a portion. And some have more of the light. So I'll say it like this. You're getting to where I'm going, or where I like to go.
Yes, sir.
Whenever a man can come before you and say that I am the light of the world, and he that follows after me shall not walk in darkness, he say that man represents the presence of God. And when God is present, light doesn't only have to travel at the speed of 186,000 miles per second. He said it's 186,000. He said 186,000 miles per second times 186,000 miles. So now the presence of God increases the speed of light to such a degree that he said it moves at such a horrific speed that now it transformed and turned old elements or turned different elements into a new creation. So now in the presence of God and the presence of the light, we become a different people because God is present, and the speed of light, the speed of thought, what is in the thought, the energy of the thought, the word, it actually causes a people that was once dead to be energized as once you was a part of what they call triple darkness. So yes, we become a part of the matter doing nothing. Now that the light of God hits us, it starts us to move it. And then at a certain point, we come together and we start to form a new reality, a new element, a new creation, a new people, a new world. And this is what you're witnessing. And I don't want to go too far ahead of myself, but where I'm going with this is a principle that I talked about in the writings of an interview that I did with Sister Ebony, Hurt to Healing. And in this interview, I talk about the atoms, and I talk about fusion, and I talk about fission, and the reality of where I'm going with that this year is, to me, is right in a line with him and the time. So what I'm saying is that there's a new reality that's taking place amongst us. Right now, a lot of the believers that I've talked to, all of them talk about how they're going through something.
Yes,
how
sir.
they be going through financial, how they're going through something. Well, as I recognize that, the thing that I'll tell you is that you're in the darkness. The minister say, Rashad, do you know what intense darkness is? I say to the believers, right now, we're in intense darkness and it will intensify. But in the darkness is light. So in the darkness, in the triple darkness, God was already present. That was light. And because there was light, things start to develop out of the darkness that you can see in the darkness. So yes, now, I say to the believers, don't worry about your pain. Don't worry about your struggles. Know that right now you're in intense darkness. But in order for you to stay in the light, you have to stay in what he taught you. And as long as you stay in the light, then the light is in you. So the light that is in you becomes the God within you, the God consciousness, the God reality that's nurturing the back into something that has been broken down to nothing. So know that you're being humbled and you are in this intense darkness and it's going to get intensified. But know that the light is in the darkness and it's going to cause a fusion.
Yes, sir.
So that the matter together and the matter will produce a new people. So know that in our community is something taking place. But there's also another reality that is a part of the life. And what happens is when new life is being created, everything that's a part of that life doesn't become a part of the new life. So what happens is all of the eggs, all of the cells that don't become a part of the body end up becoming food for the body. So it says that the woman body never flushes out all of what it receives. Some of it become a part of her. That's us in a larger sense of what's taking place. So know that what you're feeling in this darkness is absolutely necessary for the next steps of what is about to take place in our nation. Know that a new birth is being formed. Know that a new people is being formed. Know that the light has intensified to 186,000 times 186,000. Know that God is present and know that there will be a new element that'll come out of this, because in that there's atomic energy that is released that allows the energy that is necessary for the creation. So know that don't get all twisted and bent out of shape and get bitter. Get happy as you go through it, because know that this is only a temporary passage that's going to lead us to the greater good of what God has promised. And that's where we are. And I want to talk more about it, but I want to go ahead of myself. But I want you to know that everything that you were taught to prepare for, don't worry about it now, because you're in it. The only way we will survive is we don't talk about what he's saying. We do what he says. Don't go looking for things to do. Don't go looking for nothing to do. Go back and do everything he told us to do, and in that we'll find salvation. Go back and do everything he told us to do. Everything. And start checking it off. He told us to do this. Where are we at with that? Check it off. And everything he told us to do. And then you'll be saying like he said, my Savior lived. My Redeemer lived. And then people will be asking the question like I asked the question when he said it. How do you know? He said, because he saved me. Well, how did he save you, Farrakhan? Because I was obedient to everything that he taught me. And every trap that they set for me, I was able to escape it because I was obedient to his word. So everything that he faced, he went back to what his father told him. And that's what he did. And that's how he escaped the trap. I'm telling the believers, Go back to everything that he said and do it, and you'll find that you'll escape the trap. From how to eat to live, to the economic program, to how we should conduct ourselves at home and abroad. If we go back into what we're taught, then we'll one day say, my Savior lived.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be an example of the light of the sun that has now become the light of the world. The sun that has become the light of the world. And he said, when God is present amongst them, they don't even need the sun anymore, because now God has become their sun and they revolve around him. And because they revolve around him, they receive the light that they need to keep moving. So know that this is a great time. Know that I'm fired up and there's some things that I want to say that I can't say, but know that I'm going to tell you. And you said it like this here, Josh. I tried to do everything that he asked of me to do, and that I didn't. I think of it. But that's one thing that I think that was asked of me in my mind from God that I have not done yet. And this is the thing that I think fuels me, because I feel that I must do it. And listen to these words. Get up and go, and sin no more, and tell the world of the goodness of God coming in the person of. And I said, Master Farad Muhammad, no. I said, no, no. I say, no, that's what we're taught. No. I said, I'm Black Muhammad, no. No. Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan, we weren't taught that. How? I believe in my heart that Master Farad Muhammad, Allah who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, never left us.
Mm.
He never left us. That's why there's no record of him leaving. Because before he completed his work, he placed himself in one that would be him in the absence of himself. That will be there. And you thought the one that was there was Elijah, but it wasn't Elijah. It was the Allah in Elijah that was in Master Farad Muhammad. And he loved us so much that he didn't leave us without one.
Yes, sir.
So as I have come to understand the Trinity, I see the Trinity, but I see it from a different perspective. I see the one God in the three, not the three in the one. I see the God, Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Same God that was in the person of Elijah Muhammad. And he is the same God, Allah, who's in the person of Louis Farrakhan. And he is the same God that will be in us if we accept the teachings. And we become, as your lessons say, Allah, the original man. We, the people of God, acting in concert with God, become God.
Yes,
and he
sir.
said that you're in the of God. So in my mind, I believe that my journey has allowed me to see is developed.
Beautiful.
I think my journey has allowed me to understand the study guides.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Because even though I may not have completed all of the study guides, I walk with the book. So I didn't get a chance to study the guide as relates to the book, but I studied the book.
Yes, sir.
In this man, there is no doubt. He is a guide to those who believe. You don't get a book unless you get a man.
Come on with it.
The book that we call Quran came from a man that we call the prophet or the messenger of God. And God didn't give the book to the world, but through the man.
Beautiful.
So the world received the book, but in order to receive the book, they had to receive the man. Now there's no book that God has written. And God has revealed it through a man. And those that accept the man will accept eternal life.
Yes, sir.
So now what happens is, it is by this one man and his example that the whole world may be saved. See? So he said, I know your name and I know your function.
Mm.
If you receive the name from him, if you receive the name from Elijah, if you receive the name from Master Farrakhan Muhammad, then know that you had a function and you have a function. And as long as you have life, you should be living to fulfill your function and your name. So he has given me a name. And I have a duty by those whom I've journeyed with. And my duty is only to bear witness to what I have seen him do. My duty is only to bear witness to what I heard him say.
Yes, sir.
My duty is only to bear witness to what I believe him to be. See? And that's my journey. And if I bear witness in truth and in fact to him, then I'll become one of the stars in the constellation of believers that is creating a new heaven that will form a new earth. And know that for every physical reality, there's a spiritual counterpart.
Yes, sir.
And just remember, there's a message on my heart that relates to fission, fusion. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the reality of God. So that's that. I guess I got there while I was at the beach. I don't know.
Beautiful, Brother Rashad. All praises due to Allah. Excellent teaching. Of course, everybody's bearing witness and unpacking this in the comments. And thank you, Sis Naima, saying all praises due to Allah. That, Brother Ryan Muhammad says, thanks for training me. K-Son Thomas, peace. And thank you, and everybody, all nations of God's earth, peace of the gods, everybody who's watching, 5%, everybody who's showing love. Thank you all very much. It means a lot to Brother Rashad, to myself. Okay, Rashad, last question. Because we went real serious and real deep this whole interview, praise be to Allah. Rashad, we got to ask you, what is your favorite food to eat, sir?
You know, the food that I enjoy is based on the people that I've learned to love.
Okay.
I love Caribbean food.
All right.
The reason that is because out of all my travels, I found that I related better with people that look like me. And I felt comfortable and was received by people who look like me. And even though I traveled through Africa, I stayed with the basic cuisine of just fish, rice, and vegetables. So I didn't get a chance to be exposed to African cuisine. There's some African dishes I had that I like. But one of the things that when I first went to Jamaica and I met the believers there, and from my perspective, the brothers that I met were so beautiful in spirit and in heart that it reminded me of what we had been taught. And I could remember almost like they say, love at first sight.
Yes, sir.
I remember being in a hotel room having a briefing about the minister's visit and just listening to them. And as I heard them articulate their love for the minister and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, my love grew for them instantly. And in that, I find myself adapting to their foods and their struggles. So when I saw the people in Jamaica and I saw the level of poverty, I felt for them, but not in a sense of feeling bad, because even though they may not have some of the things that some wealthy people have, they had something that was greater than that. They had a sense of pride and a sense of love. And up under all that they had suffered like us, they still managed to be a proud people.
Yes, sir.
And not only are they proud, for the most part, they have welcomed the world, only to now to reflect the world. So now, in certain aspects of it, they're even more decadent as relates to the world, because they've allowed the foreigners to come in and influence their behavior because of the poverty. But bottom line is, the Caribbean, I enjoy the Caribbeans, you know, and you say which one of them, each one of them is uniquely beautiful and different.
Okay, okay.
You know, and like I say, I love Jamaica, I love St. Kitts, I love Trinidad, I love Barbados, I love Grenada. See, all of these islands, Belize, you know, down in South America, I love these places because in these places I saw me. See, in Africa, it's a little different, but in the islands, they were more akin to our journey. They went through a very similar experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People of Haiti, you know, Haiti was very unique, but they're very strong and very powerful people. You know, I could see why Haitians scared the hell out of white people. You know, it's something about the darker we are, man. People see us and they look in your face and look in that skin, brother. They get scared, because really they're looking at God and they know what they have done to the people of God.
Yes, sir.
So the bottom line is the Caribbeans it's very dear. I think that once we, yes.
Yes, sir. I don't want to cut you off. I want to ask you, when you were over there, did you ever have to, because this is before Google Translate, so like on your phone, so how are you communicating in these different countries with different, you know, how are you talking to the people who don't speak English? And did you have to communicate with people who didn't speak English, you know, in your travel?
Well, most people really misunderstand the level or the word communication. Communication doesn't necessarily mean verbal. And you can have great communicating skills and explain yourself without saying a word. Some people say it's written all over your face, you don't have to say a word. Some people say if you watch the action, you understand the man. Well, you talked about the different things that you may have seen me do as relates to security.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's because I had teachers from around the world. And if you follow me or you go around the world, you'll see different aspects of what I implemented throughout the world.
Beautiful.
Each one of them have different aspects of things that I may have taken. So it's like I went around the world collecting spices because I knew that I was going to make a stew at home. And I wanted my stew to have some flavor and essence. So everywhere that I went, like the beef, I would grab what I needed. So when I was in Iran, I saw certain things. When I was in Libya, I saw certain things. When I was in Dagestan, when I was in Mali, when I was in the Gambia, when I was in Jamaica, when I was in Barbados, when I was in Trinidad, everywhere that I went, I didn't just go just to be there. I went there and I learned. And I took the best of what I saw them do.
Yes, sir.
Looked at, and like I say, even if I didn't know what they were doing, I had to understand the principles of it. So when I first came into security, my job was observation. I couldn't do anything. I was to watch all of the watchers. So my whole job, when I first came on part of the detail, was to watch the people that were supposed to be watching. And when I watch them, I can see the mistakes, I can see the flaws, and I can see the victories. So when I'm looking at different apparatus, I can see that. I can come into a place and look at their weapons and tell you who trained them based on their movement. I can look at their car, and see what influences them. Look at their dress. See, look at their movement. Look at when you look at it, you can see who influences the world.
Yes, sir.
especially when it comes to military and tactical maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. You see it. See, this is a principle that you can apply anywhere. The human anatomy is designed to move a certain way. Anything outside of the designed movement causes friction or a breakage. So I don't give a damn what you think about your hand. Your fingers only go a certain way. Once I understand the directions of how your finger moves, there's nothing that you can do to manipulate or maneuver those fingers other than the way that they're designed to go, other than break them. Your elbow, your shoulder, your back. See, so what happens is a good fighter understands that your body has to align a certain way. See, and what happens is this: the body don't move without the thought. And if there's a thought, that means thoughts travel. So if you know how to read thought, you see it before the body moves. So some people recognize it before it's even coming, so they can get out of the way of it. See, I heard brother say this one time, brother Sensei Steve, what's his name? Sojo?
Joe, yes, sir.
Yeah. He said that one time he was training and he was working out with Bruce Lee. He said, Bruce Lee said that he was fast, but he said Steve was fast, but he has perfect timing, I think it was. He said, because if you have perfect timing, it'll be speed every time. Perfect timing. And in order to have perfect timing, there's certain things that have to be aligned. So they tell you if your car's not timed properly, you start hearing a certain noise and it needs a timing change.
Yes,
because
sir.
your timing is. See? But when you align, when your mind is in harmony with your body, see, your mind picks up on the thought before the person's body moves. So even in their movement, they telegraph their movement through their thought.
Yes, sir.
See? Because you can't even ball up your fist without thinking about it, even though it may feel natural. It's a thought. See? So, and even if you're going to throw a punch, you already in your mind have to decide where you're going to throw this punch, what angle you want, see, how you want to catch it. All these are thoughts.
Yes, sir.
When you in thoughts travel, so don't nobody come in your space and move a certain way and you don't pick up on it. That's the thought.
Excellent, Rashad.
Just the thought.
Yes, sir. Okay, bro, Rashad. People just want to say all praises to Allah. Thank you for this. I remember when our brother, okay, he said, peace, this is Farrakhan. Oh, Farrakhan Ali, Salam. He said he remembers when you came to Detroit with the assistant minister and you told some stories about the minister and himself and yourself, powerful testimony. Thank you, brother Farrakhan Ali, for always showing love to the People's Podcast here after Palms and everybody else who tapped in. Thank you all, bro. A lot of people watching and bear witness to you today and to this evening. While you spoke of the food, now I'm about to go get some brown stew chicken, bro, Rashad, from Jamaican Flavor. But
no, the brown stew. Ain't nothing wrong with that. The brown
yes, sir.
stew, you know.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you, bro, Rashad. I wanted to say, even when you came to my graduation, Zach asked my sister, and I said, I hugged bro Rashad, I said, I love you, bro Rashad. Gave me an envelope, graduation card. I turned back, talked to a professor or a student, turned back around, you was gone. I said, bro, Rashad is always moving like he's with, like he's on security or something. I mean, I just said you still the same, bro, Rashad. I love you, and man, I look forward to an in-person interview, bro, Rashad. I really want to do an in-person interview with you. I think it'll be real powerful, and thank you again for all that you do. Thank you for all of your family sacrifices, your sacrifices. Rashad, last question. Everybody keeps saying, I'm like the minister saying in closing, but one more question, Rashad. You spoke of your mother. May we have your mother's name, sir?
My mother's name was Minnie Pearl, and her maiden name is Buckley. So I come from the Buckley family of Charleston, Mississippi. Anybody in Charleston area would know the Buckleys.
Yes. May Allah bless the womb of your mother, and thank you, bro, Rashad, and your family and your wife, children, and everybody. So we love you, Brother Rashad. We salute you, Brother Rashad.
Well, one of the things that I can say, and I thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as relates to my parents, both of them thank God for me. And both of them bad witness to the God that I serve before they made their transition. And the minister asked me to share words with my mother through my wife. And when I shared the words with my mother said to me that she felt the love of God coming all through me for her. And what I thought was that because I was true to the minister and what he gave me, I shared it with her. And he knew that she would feel God's presence. And I say that when we carry his words, in the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is the spirit and the energy of life.
Yes, sir.
And the energy of God himself. And the truer we are to his words, the more the people will respond to what we say. Be true. Be true to what he's given us. May Allah bless you. May he bless your family.
Thank you.
May he bless your audience. May he bless you in your journey for higher learning.
Yes, sir.
But in all your learning, may he give you an abundant spirit of service and gratitude for all that you have experienced, all that you've gone through, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, sir.
Because all of it made you become the man that you are becoming. You cannot have become the Joshua that you are if you didn't suffer some of the pains that you have suffered. But never let your suffering give you your color.
Yes, sir.
Always take from God in service as relates to your family. And never be bitter about what you have been allotted or given. Accept it because your reward is not of this world. Your reward is with your Lord. And don't think that it ends in death, because the reward of God for the believers goes beyond the grave.
Yes,
and
sir.
Goes beyond. And know that you are still a recipient of the goods that your parents have bestowed based on their works. So I say to you, as I say to all the young believers, claim your inheritance. Claim your inheritance. Walk with God that you may secure your future. Thank you for the time that you've allowed me to share. Thank you for allowing my voice to be one of those voices that would be heard during the last days of this year. And I thank Allah for the year that we have had and all of the believers as we have journeyed. And I say to the believers, prepare yourself for the victory and know that no matter what we face, Allah has never left us and Allah never will leave us. And he will always be in our presence. And know that the light of God will always be in you if you carry it and keep it burning. The ministers say the same fuel that fuels the sun is the fuel that fuels him.
Yes, sir.
Let's get a portion, family. Let's get a portion so that we may have oil in our lamp to light up the world. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir. Beautiful. Thank you all for watching. Joshua Muhammad signing off with the People's Podcast. Excellent.